right. Positive energy all the time. Good to see everyone tonight. Hope you all doing great. I am representing Chi-Town. Shout out to everybody on both of my Facebook accounts, on Twitch, on Kick, and on YouTube. Hope everybody's having a great day. Rep your city, rep your city. We have Woodbridge in the building. We have Buffalo here. We have New Orleans here. We have San Jose here. We have Atlanta, Georgia in the house. We have Pittsburgh here. Rep your city, rep your city. We have Oakland in the building. Shout out to everybody out there in Oakland. Let's get it started. We have Orlando in the building. Beautiful Orlando. I've been to Orlando a couple times. Nice place. We have Atlanta in the house. Salute to everybody in Atlanta. We have Philadelphia in the house. I remember going to Orlando as a child. My parents took me to Disney World. I went back and took my girlfriend. I think I was about 19. Yeah, what's going on, G-Bro? What's going on? So yeah, let's get it going. I watched Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel when he returned. I'm going to talk about that. I did check it out. Everybody come on in, hit that like button, share, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the like button. And let's get it going. I watched Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel was back. Thank you, Derek. Jimmy Kimmel was back. I checked him out. And I didn't like it. I didn't really like it. But I'll break it down. I didn't like it. I think the United States is headed in the wrong direction. I think the United States has become too political. It's too political. It's just become too political. It's political 365 days a year, every year. I don't want, I mean, what are we supposed to do with that? Like when I grew up, America didn't become political until right before the presidential election. America was not really political in the midterms. The midterms was something that came and went. You voted for, and that was it. And America would get political for the presidential election, and it wouldn't be political so long. They didn't campaign as long as they do now. They campaigned too far. You didn't have social media, so you didn't have social media at one time. You didn't have 24-hour news at one time. News came on in the morning, local news at noon. In the evening, the 5 o'clock news came on, 5 and 6, right? So the local news would sometimes come on twice because people don't get off till 5, so it'd come back on at 6. And then the nightly news, which was the only international news, was the nightly news. That would come on a lot of times at 7. And it was great because the news would be on 5, but a lot of times 6 and 7. Not 5 so much. 6 o'clock, local news, and right after that, world news. And that was perfect because that was close around dinner time. Most people work from 9 to 5. So you kind of just got home. You could watch the news, local, world news, which the world news was, the news for the country too. So that'd be the, national and world news. And then you can enjoy the rest of your night. And you would go right from television entertainment to sleep. No more news. You would go, your mom's come home, or your mom and dad is home. You eat. The children have to do their homework. There's not any children entertainment on by 5 o'clock. The children entertainment was from 3:30 up till 5. So the children's entertainment was soon as you got home from school. And so as soon as you came home from school, it was a little children's entertainment, like Saturday morning would be children's entertainment. 5 o'clock come, children's entertainment is over. The news comes on, 6 and 7. And that was it. And then you would watch television. Mommy would tell you to go to bed because mommies did all that stuff. Daddies didn't do that type of stuff. Mommy decides, okay, y'all, if you're quiet, mommy might forget you're still up. You might get an extra 30 minutes. You might get extra 15 minutes. You might get an extra hour if you be good and quiet. But as it gets to, 10 o'clock, they have the nightly news, right? Right? And Dan Rather only came on Sunday. I'm going back before then. Dan Rather didn't come on until, did he come on at the evening news? It might have been Dan Rather on the evening news. You're right. Somebody like that, one of those. It would be one of those, depending on how far you go back. It could have been Ted Koppel. It was Ted Koppel, right? It was Ted Koppel. in the era I'm talking about. So it was Ted Koppel. But you're right, because it probably depends on what channel you got on. So you're right. And then the 10 o'clock news come on. Well, that's when they would try to get you in bed. If you go back far enough, you have Walter Cronkite, right? And then you would kind of like get ready to go to bed, right? And that would be mommy's time, basically. Men didn't do TV too much. Yeah. So the TVs was always for the children and mommy. Not daddy. They didn't really have daddy TV. And that's when, and daddy kind of enjoys himself by watching whatever his wife want to watch. So that's going to be, Johnny Carson. Here's Johnny, and then that's when you can see, Sammy Davis Jr., Frank Sinatra, all the hot comedians, Dick Gregory, whatever, whatever hot white comedian or black comedian or Hispanic, if he's hot enough. Wasn't too many back then, but it was a lot of great white comedians and black comedians, and people could juggle, and singers and dancers, right? And that would be mommy's time. So you all go to bed, and then she could kind of just fall asleep. She could kind of just fall asleep on her entertainment. That was the end of it. As time went and they started having, well, what changed that is the hostage situation. And so when Iran took the American hostages, that changed television forever. A lot of people don't know that. One reason, the main reason television is like it is today is because of the Iran hostage situation. And so when they took the Iran hostages, what would happen is Ted Koppel would stay on. So instead of the news coming on instead of the national news coming on from 7, he might just stay on. And they'd be like, day number 99, because they kept them people like 200 something days. They kept them a long time. So like day 7. And at first he might talk because it's supposed to be from 6. It's supposed to be they came on at 6. It's supposed to be from 6 to 7. They didn't worry about the 5 o'clock local news because your mommy could catch that at 10. So you could catch the news in the morning, 5 or 10. So if you miss the local news, it was no big deal. It's coming back on at 10. So if you're coming home from work, you don't have to worry about that. So by the time you get home, it's the national news on. And they had the Iran hostage situation. So Ted Koppel started, it wouldn't go off at 7. It might stay on at 7:30, then 8 o'clock. Then sometime he'd be on till 10, like straight, and never go off. And that was the beginning of 24-hour news, because that went right into like a cable TV type of vibe, right? Which didn't really pop off until you get to, Fox, when they, Arsenio and all that. But that was kind of the beginning of the 24-hour news. And this was the Iran hostage situation, right? With Iran. This wasn't with Iraq. This was when Iran took those hostages and kept those hostages. The Ayatollah Khomeini. That was the Ayatollah, right? That was the Ayatollah Khomeini. This is way before they started talking about Sadat. Because Sadat is Iraq. This was the Iran. situation, right? And they kept those people. See, here it says 444 days. So they kept them well over a year. Jimmy Carter was the president, and this is the Ayatollah's picture at the bottom. You can see on your right. And this was so this is, they start extending and extending and extending the news to report that. But shows like Jimmy Kimmel was like the Johnny Carson show. That is Nightline. Nightline got slapped on to ABC. Who's Channel 7? Yeah, Channel 7, because, right? Because of the Iran situation, Leonard, and because Ted Koppel ended up being on coming on at 6 and not going off, they start calling it Nightline, right? Because sometimes what they would do is, in order to show the other programming, they would have the evening news, world news, or whatever, NBC News, NBC News, ABC News, and stuff like that. Because the local news was something else. Jay Leno wasn't. This is later before we get to Jay. This is way before Jay Leno. I'm talking early, Aziz. I'm talking early. Jay Leno wasn't there yet. There was nobody on but Johnny Carson. Sit. There was nobody. I think Jay Leno took over from Johnny. As here's Johnny. And so it was just Johnny Carson. It was just one night show. You see how now you have like them competing? There was only one night show. Johnny Carson. The whole America watched, Johnny Carson. He was the only one. There was nobody else. If you came on and you was an act and you wanted to be on TV, you had to come on Johnny Carson. It was a little while before they start getting David Letterman. David Letterman popped up next. So it was Johnny Carson, and then they went and got David Letterman. But originally, when you go all the way back to Aretha Franklin and the Temptations and them, Joe Tex, these type of performers, it was only Johnny Carson. The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson and Ed McMahon. They was bigger than life. Here's Johnny. I mean, everybody in America got on Johnny Carson, and it's almost the kids. You got to go to bed, and in order to take care of the children, that they knew if they had artists that we want to see, like a James Brown or Aretha Franklin or the Beatles or something, they will put them on Friday night so we could see them. Right? So if you was really a big, especially recording artist, you would get booked Friday night, and mommy and daddy let you stay. Friday night you can stay up till you fall asleep. They don't care. And we'll watch that, and then we got to run because we're trying to watch creature features, right? So Friday night was creature features, or Friday and Saturday night was creature features, where the kids get to watch monsters, Dracula, Count Yorga, Frankenstein, the Mummy, the Werewolf, okay? Right? So that's how that went, right? But it wasn't political. No politics. Right? Ed Sullivan only came on Sunday. Right? So Ed Sullivan only came on Sunday. But I'm specifically talking about the news. Because Sunday, news wasn't big unless you watched 60 Minutes. And that's where Dan Rather and them were at. So I'm talking I'm talking about, okay, let me line this up, Azim. I'm talking about in comparison to Jimmy Kimmel show. So that's why I'm only talking about these shows that are in the slot where Jimmy Kimmel is at. So that's not Saturday and Sunday, because those type of shows are Monday through Friday, right? Jimmy Kimmel, right? The late night shows. Merv Griffith, he wasn't nobody really. That's later, right? So I'm going back in the time period, y'all. So some of the stuff y'all mentioning is not at the beginning. You're mentioning stuff later. And I'm going to the beginning in American television, because the beginning of American television, as you know it, didn't start until the mid 50s. You see what I'm saying? Television didn't get big until after the Great Migration. And television didn't really get big until the baby boomers were born. As a matter of fact, I was born in 1958. Television wasn't even big then. Television wasn't that big in 58, 59, 60. Not really. Television took a backseat to radio. Y'all got to understand, America was radio. Radio ran everything, not television. Television was not the number one source of anything, because the car got a radio, the house got radios, and the radios where you got the news and everything. And the number one source of news was the newspaper. And so Daddy read the newspaper, right? If you wanted to get all the news, you had to read the newspaper. The paper boy come and throw it on the porch. I'm saying all this to say there was no politics. It was all entertainment. Okay? Johnny Carson was entertainment. You watch the Johnny Carson show, he going to get on there. He was funny. He going to tell jokes. And he's going to interview entertainers. He wasn't really interviewing a lot of politicians and stuff like that. He's interviewing your favorite entertainers, movie stars, Sidney Poitier, Diana Shores, Carol Burnett. It's entertainment. It was entertainment. You've already had your politics. You already seen the 6 o'clock evening news. You already seen the nightly news. They did not bore Americans with ridiculous politics all day. Okay? All day politics. They didn't do that. And this is why a lot of, especially like middle-aged men, are horrible, because they've been bombarded with these politics. They can't even have a normal conversation because they think politics is everything in life, right? It's horrible. It's the worst ever. It's like, take politics off the TV like that. We don't want to see no politics all day and all night. Right? We don't want to see that. So I watched Jimmy Kimmel, and Jimmy Kimmel, it was horrible. It was horrible. It was absolutely atrocious. Because he got kicked off of TV for stepping in a bunch of political nonsense, right? Right? The left versus the right. Right? I can say, as a content creator, the political weirdness is just really making it hard for us to even have a good conversation over here, because the political hacks, they jump into our live stream and try to push their lost, brainwashed political minds in every conversation. And it's all about debate. It's all about differences. It's all about these crazy opinions. It's the worst, especially the men. The women aren't too bad, but this new generation of political men, they've got to be the worst men in American history. I kid you not worth a nickel. Like just have no brain. They can't think about anything else. They've been totally brainwashed with politics. So I go watch it, and Jimmy gets on there. He starts crying. Right? So he starts crying. I don't like Jimmy Kimmel. I think even though he tries to pretend he's a liberal, I believe his show is a little bit racist because he's got the little Hispanic guy there as like the clown. What's his name? Guillermo, right? He would never have a white person be that jester. So he's got this Hispanic jester. Yeah, he started talking in his dialogue about coming back, and he teared up. And I didn't mean to do nothing. I wasn't trying to. It was sad that he lost his life. That type of thing, right? So he started crying and teared up. And then he had all these old weirdo skits. And the skits were all political. You know, he didn't have no comedy for those of us that don't give a damn about this Trump Democrat. We don't want to hear that all day, bro. We don't want to get off work, come home, and hear no political jokes, man. You don't got no regular jokes. You don't have no regular conversation. Everything is about that. So the whole show was like a liberal show poking fun at the conservative. Basically, it was horrible. It was horrible. And they all like that. The whole thing is like that. Social media is like that. Instagram's like that. YouTube is like everybody is a political hack. And me, because I'm not a political hack, I gotta ban people constantly. Because if you just mention anything, they're ready to argue about the opposite side. Education is political. Everything is political. Everything is this side or that side. And they've taken all of these things, and all of these things go on this side. And all of these things go on that side. And if you talk about these things, you on that side. I don't know how, but you are. And they talk about everything except our wages and our salaries and us paying our bills. And they got the audience talking about everything, right? Except your salary and paying your bills. They'll be over here in a minute. They'll be just watch and read, and you're going to see the ones pretending they're not hacks, but they're hacks. Because my conversation is just going to make them watch. Just look at the comments, and you can see who affected. It's affecting them, me just talking this. They'll start voice, and they're doing us like this, you know. It's just like it just touched your nerve. You can't even talk about it without the emotions, because people are going to bring the emotions. And they do us like this, and they do us like that. It's the worst. It's the worst experience for me as a content creator. Especially men. I can't stand emotional men. I can't stand men that you could push a button. When you're a man and you're in a conversation and a button get pushed, to me, you need to go put a skirt on. Or get off the internet. So the rest of us can have a conversation without your emotional input, which I'm really not interested in. So it was horrible. He was dry. He needs to retire. He was dry. He was corny. And it reflected the state of America. America is too busy dealing with race and politics all day, every day. And I speak for a lot of Americans. Can we have a break from that sometime? Can we sometime watch something that's not racial, not political? Can we sometime just see some normal stuff? Like he couldn't come on there and he's a liberal comedian. You know what I'm saying? And all his jokes is at the right, it shots at the right. And it's like, bruh, you know, we got to deal with that. We dealt with that the whole election. The election is over. And these people are still keeping the same vibe from the election going on. And it's like the election never ends. They started campaigning 2 years before the election. When the national election, when it's over, they start campaigning for the local elections. They brainwash the citizens, so the citizens is that. So the people think they're a liberal or conservative. Yet, you ain't nothing but a slave. Going to work every day, paying the electric bill, paying the gas bill, and you sitting up talking about two people running for office, and no matter who get in there, you're going to still have to pay that electric bill. You ain't never seen a president get in there. You never got a raise because somebody became president. Show me one election where somebody became president and got in there and dropped your rent, dropped your mortgage, lowered your car payments. Show me. Show me where you voted for anybody or anybody voted for anybody and they won and immediately you benefited. Show me. Show me. If you loved Trump, show me where your mortgage went down soon as he got. Show me what happened for you when he got in there. Nothing. Show me. Show me where your life changed. It never changes. And the prices keep going up. The prices are higher now than they was 12 years ago. And how many presidents we had in 12 years? And prices never went back. Show me where we had a president and prices went down and the next president kept going down and the next president kept going down. No. Every year, the prices go up. Another person get in there. We start arguing over them. They get in there. Nothing happens for you. Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I'm watching this guy and he's doing political jokes. He has the old actor that plays a mobster. Had him on there doing some corny stuff. And I'm like, bruh, he got you looking like a goofy. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Not Pacino, the other one. The one from Casino. Had him on there doing some old corny skit. It was dry. It was corny. It was all political. It was just constantly jokes at Trump. Robert De Niro. And it's like, bro, that's what you got this show to take shots at the president? Like, bro. So in other words, if you like Trump, you can't watch his show. Right? And then why should you have to like a Democrat Republican? Why you just can't watch TV? Why it just can't be TV? Why it's got to be conservative TV or liberal TV? Like it's right TV and left TV. And it's like the right don't got no TV because all of Hollywood and all of the entertainments are on the left. So if you want to watch any type of entertainment, you got to watch Democratic entertainment, which is the dumbest thing. There's no more American entertainment. It's Democratic entertainment. And I remember where You didn't disclose that. You just went and voted. You went and voted. You know, my mother and daddy's wasn't Democrat. None of our parents, none of y'all grandparents was Democrats or Republicans. They just went and voted. And once they voted, they was just still mommy and daddy. They was just still grandma and granddaddy. Here's a fact, y'all young, you wouldn't know. Your daddy did not walk around like no doggone Republican or no Democrat. Your daddy was just a daddy. Your granddaddy was just a granddaddy. We didn't have political parents. These young kids got political parents. Their parents, because people told me that and it was freaking me out. Because, you know, if I wanted to vote for Harris, they said I was a Democrat. And that's the first time I never seen that before. Before, you just voted and I was in of it. They never called you that party. Because we know you might vote for anybody. Because you used to keep your vote private. Voting used to be your business. When I was growing up, you would not hear husbands and wife discuss politics. Whoever she's going to vote for is her business, and whoever he's going to vote for is his business. They got to bring that back. You don't discuss politics unless you're campaigning. But if you're not campaigning, you're not supposed to be discussing that. That's why you go in a booth and close the curtain. What's the purpose of the curtain when you run up and down, Trump, Biden, Harris? Like, what? It's totally ridiculous. Totally. So Republican and Democratic views should not be mixed with television. Period. We should be allowed to get away from that. And they're wondering why the shooting happened. That's the real reason the shooting happened. Because of the American system, the politicians and the people control entertaining and stuff ain't smart enough to sit down and say, you know what? We're going to have to bring this down. We're going to have to bring this down. Because if you bombard people with these political views and these two sides all day, you're going to have violence. You're going to have unrest. You're going to have mental issues. Seriously. You are going to have mental issues. You're going to create mental illness. This is a fact. There are people right now that don't know it, but they're at the beginning stages of mental illness and don't even know it. If every time you get in a conversation, you want to always bring up Trump or something, that's the beginning of mental illness. If you don't have no regular life and everything you see, you start to relate 75% of the stuff during your day to some politics, that's mental illness. It might be slight, but it's mental illness. For sure. And now people are going to be, that's before my time. You can look that up, XYZ. That goes way back. They had two political parties, and that goes way back. But that was just for Washington. That wasn't for you all. That wasn't for you, XYZ. That's my point. There's nothing wrong with having Democrats and Republicans. But that's the politicians. Let me give you an example. Let's take the Chicago Bears and the Baltimore Ravens. And let's say you lived in Baltimore, I live in Chicago. And let's say the Ravens and the Bears play. And after they play, let's say every day of your life, You talking about the Ravens and the Bears. Everything you turn on TV is the Ravens and the Bears. Football season over, and they talk about the Ravens and the Bears. You watch a sitcom, you watch a comedy show, it's comedy about the Ravens and the Bears. How would you like that? Football season over. The Ravens and the Bears both suck. They're not even contenders. But imagine your life where everything was the Ravens and the Bears, especially if you don't like neither one of them, like me. Well, that's what's going on. Every day of your life now is conservative versus liberals. Every day, all day. To the point where they're putting whole subject matters on that side. So if you're gay, that's liberal. I don't know how. I don't know how gay is liberal. I don't know. I thought gay was just gay. I'm confused. I never knew that gay was a political situation. I never thought that being gay would be more important than wages. Because I thought if you was gay, I thought you still need good wages. So imagine being gay and you're all caught up with pushing the liberals because of LGBTQ. And your gay person that's for you gets in office, but you barely make enough money to pay your rent. Your wages don't go up. Your food price, everything go up. Now, you got a guy that supports gays, but the rest of your life sucks. And the person that supports gays really can't do nothing for you because you're gay at night with your boyfriend or your girlfriend. So what do you need a politician for? Like, if I was gay, I don't need a politician. Like, I don't need a heterosexual politician to stand up for me to be no heterosexual. Because really, I'm not heterosexual until I have sex because it's heterosexual. So if you're not being sexual, you're not hetero or homo. You're just a person. You can't be a homosexual until you have sex. I would think. I don't know. I'm confused. Other than that, you're just a dude going to work. If I'm a gay dude and I get up, put my clothes on and go to work, am I a homosexual? No, I'm a dude going to work, ain't I? I'm not a homosexual till I get back with my boyfriend. I would think, right? Or is it just me? I'm confused. When I go to work, am I a heterosexual? I didn't think I was a heterosexual till I get with my woman. Seriously. Like right now, I don't feel like I'm being a heterosexual. Right now, I'm just a content creator. What about this is heterosexual? What about me talking is, I'm confused. This is ridiculous. So I just got to be a heterosexual all day, every day, and everything in my life is heterosexual stuff? Well, how much is heterosexual rent? You know what I'm saying? Which one is the cheapest? Heterosexual rent or homosexual rent? Because I need to get the cheapest rent. Oh, they the same? So if I want to rent this place, it's the same, whether I'm heterosexual or homosexual? All right, then. Why is this a political situation? Same food prices, same gas prices, same taxes, same everything. Why are we talking about sex? What is this like? Are these politicians like salt and pepper? Well, let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about. But listen, that's not for politics. Please, can we just be people sometime? So the Jimmy Kimmel show was horrible. It was like a political show. He was trying to be politically funny. And it was like, we hate the other guys in the other side of the politics. So all of our jokes is to make fun of other Americans that on the other side, which is crazy because how could you run a unified country with two sides anyway? Like, I would think that both sides would be somewhat the same with very few differences. I don't know how you're going to run a country with one side believing something way over here and the other side believes something way over there. You got no moderates. You got nothing in the middle. If you want to be one, you got to be extreme on this side or extreme over there. And then you way over here and you talk about unity. How are you going to unite when you way over there and you way over there? Make some. How are you going to get anything done? And everything you're talking about, the American public don't care nothing about, nothing they talking about. Nothing. I speak for a lot of Americans. We don't care nothing about what Trump is talking about. He's not talking about what we want to hear. I speak for a lot of Americans. What we want, the first thing we want, and all Americans will agree, is we want the right to not have to stare at the cash register to see how hot it is every time they rate this food. Can we get a don't stare at the cash register bill? Because I don't know about y'all, but I have to stare at the cash register. I went to the store the other day and I'm looking at the cash register. The guy get the double bags. He got the bags. He's putting stuff into one bag, and the numbers say 2 bags. The number on the cash register said 2 bags, but it was just 1 bag. And that number went up. When that number went up a certain thing, I'm supposed to be on my second bag. Am I the only one? Like, when this bag get full, it's supposed to be this number. But when this bag got full, it was this number. And I'm like, how we on the 2 bag number with 1 bag? So that 1 bag cost that. So now you worried when you get to the second bag. So then they sit the first bag, they take the second bag, and the number, you're like, what? And then you come back on social media, and political hacks talking about everything. And so why my 2 bags was $140? Why is my coffee $10? Well, I know why it's $10 because I'm doing special stuff, but still, it's still supposed to be $5 or $6. Okay? I don't give a damn who the president is. What's up with my grocery bag? And the news let me down. I can't do everything. I need to be at the news. I need to be at the White House. Mr. President, I got a question. Okay. Why my bag? Why when I get 2 bags, it's $170? With all due respect, Mr. President, can you get my 2 bags down to $90? Which is crazy still, but we could do that. Nobody asked him why 2 bags of groceries is $5,000. Like, I'm confused. Coffee went up like $2 or $3 or whatever. Nobody bringing none of that up. So I'm watching Jimmy Kimmel. He's not bringing none of that. He ain't got no jokes about the groceries. Auntie Punchy, have you ever stared at the cash register that much or the gas pump that much? Have you ever stared at how much gas you're getting and the price and see that thing go to 1.6 gallons and see that price? And you said to yourself, man, listen, What is going on? And then they talk about everything but that. Everything but that. I'm so sick of both of them. I can't stand neither party. I can't stand neither party. I can't stand neither party. I can't stand none of them. Don't be calling me no liberal or no conservative, because I don't even know, or give me a list. You know what I'm saying? At least give me a list. Give me a liberal list, because I need to see what a liberal is, because y'all making up these names. And some of y'all is calling yourself stuff and y'all don't even know what it is, because I don't even know what a liberal is. I swear to God, I don't know what a liberal is. I can tell you this, ain't no liberals buying no groceries. I bet you the groceries ain't liberal. It's something else. I don't know what the groceries is, but there ain't no liberal groceries. They got to come up with it. What is the groceries? What is the gas prices? Because it don't look conservative and it don't look liberal. It look expensive. Where's the too expensive party? Yeah, tripping. I can't stand politics. So that's all I wanted to say. Jimmy Kimmel was horrible, up there with them whack. I didn't vote for Trump, but I'm not here to hear jokes about the president, bro. You out of line. It's the president. Let it go. Nobody wants to hear you making crazy jokes about the president like that. That's not funny. Okay? It's the president. We want to hear jokes, real jokes about funny stuff. We don't want to hear jokes because you don't like the other party. You can't watch nothing. When you turn on the news, if it's the conservative news, all they do is just hate on everybody's not a conservative. They don't tell you no news. You turn on the Fox News, here's Fox News. We hate the liberals and the Democrats. And that's all they say, the whole news. You turn on CNN, we hate the Republicans, and that's the news tonight. Basically, grown people. We don't have any Americans anymore. Nobody's an American. Nobody is an American. They are liberals or conservatives. They Democrats or Republicans. They the left and the right. You don't have no Americans no more. It doesn't exist. There's no Americans. It's the left and the right. I've had so many black men wanted to argue with me because I guess they the right or whatever. And they automatically think I'm the left. So if you don't like Harris, you the right. And if you don't like Trump, you the left. How? So I gotta be the left if I don't like Trump. I just can't just be me, and I just don't like him. Automatically, I don't like him. That means I believe everything they saying over here. Right? If you don't like something over here, then you automatically believe everything over there. And most of us, we don't believe hardly nothing on either side. We think they both suck. And we think they all need to be fired. I think it's a bunch of people from a certain race being childish and holding the rest of us hostage with their childishness. That's what I think. A bunch of spoiled brats. Oh, this one mommy and then let them have everything, and this one mommy and let them have everything. And they got brainwashed into these two political ideologies. And like, no, I want it my way. No, but it's gonna be my way. It don't be my way. Well, no, it'll be my way. And if I get in there, I'm gonna replace all you guys with all my guys. You know what I'm saying? And so you get in there and you you try to get rid of everybody from the other party and put everybody that agree with you and your weird un-American ideology, because both sides are totally un-American. Because if you're a liberal or you're a conservative, you're un-American. You're supposed to be American. You ain't supposed to be liberal or conservative. You're supposed to be American. But you ain't Americans no more. You liberals and conservatives. And we wish y'all would move to liberal area or conservative land. Like we wish you liberals and conservatives move to the land called conservative land or liberal land and get the hell out of America. Can't y'all find a conservative place to go or a liberal place to go so we could just be regular? Because what if I don't want to be neither one of y'all? And why is my bill so high? Who should I talk to, the liberals or the conservatives? Because I thought all y'all was supposed to go in there and fix stuff. I didn't, I was taught it was Washington, D.C. I thought y'all was congressmen. I thought y'all were senators. I didn't know y'all was liberal senators and conservative. They never taught me that in school. They taught me that you was a president. They didn't teach me you was no conservative. I never got taught that. I got taught you got a president, you got a Congress, you got a Senate. No, you got a Supreme Court. We don't have a Supreme Court. We have conservative something, like a conservative Supreme Court. We don't have a Supreme Court. We have a conservative Supreme Court. You can go and redistrict the map so your people win and push whatever your people push. Because you're not Americans. You're not pushing nothing American. You're pushing conservative, whatever the hell that is. Or you're pushing liberal, whatever that is. I don't really know what they are. I had so many people try to put me in there. They'd be trying to say I'm a Democrat. But nobody had never give me the playbook for Democrat. Like I need the Democrat book. I don't know what a Democrat is. What the hell is a Democrat? But if you don't like this one, they say you automatically the other one. Yeah, if you don't like this one, you that one. And if you don't like that one, you this one. And you don't know what neither side is. I don't really know what they are. I don't think they know what they are. I don't think they know what they are. I don't believe there's no such thing as a conservative or a liberal. I think they're just a bunch of people just wanting to fight. That's what I think. I think it's some people putting their personal point of views in politics and holding the rest of Americans hostage based on their personal weird views that they've been brainwashed. A bunch of these is a younger generation of new people coming up with all kind of nut ideas. And the whole country, we're going to be in World War III. We're going to be in World War III underwater in hurricanes stuff because they ain't talking nothing about making change with the environment so these hurricanes don't get worse and these tornadoes. They ain't talking about nothing like that. We're going to be a bunch of conservatives and liberals under tornado watches and hurricane watches and natural disasters. You're going to get up one day and a third of this country is going to be towed up. It's going to affect the economy of the other 2/3. It's going to be something that drastic before everybody realizes there's more serious things to kind of deal with. We got extremists. We don't have no moderates. See, and young people don't know no politics because you can't run a country without moderates. You see, like, let's say you want to stop the gangbanging in Chicago. The only way you could stop the gangbanging is you would have to have moderates. You would have to have people from the different gangs that think kind of in the middle. You can't stop the gangbanging with extremists. And that's what's going on with the politics. There's no moderates. There's nobody want to work it out. Nobody. And they brainwash the people, and the people is picking teams. And then it's bullying because then they want to make you pick a team. If you don't want to be on their team, they try to say you on the other team. Bullying, like political bullying. I've been fighting that, and it's really been worse since Trump. It's just been horrible. I could barely have a live stream without them coming over here with that. You can barely talk about anything. Anything touches a button. You could just say anything has nothing to do with that. And they touch a button. They start talking all this conservative or liberal nonsense. And you're like, what that got to do with what I'm talking about? It's crazy. So yeah, Jimmy Kimmel need to retire. They need to they need to bring some comedy. Like if that's supposed to be comedy, bring some comedy. We don't want no politics ain't funny. Y'all ain't got nothing else funny but political satire. It's the only satire y'all got. It's a shame. So that's what I got to say about that. Don't y'all get caught up with that. Support the channel, right? And whatever you do, don't get caught up with this weirdo stuff. Just don't. Because they're going to ruin you all, man, because politics have went to the dogs.